action anime have in common? Is it the powers? Yes. But there's another thing that they all have and most fans look forward to, and that's the rage moments. Those moments where the characters lose all their patience and just snap and unleash the beast within them. These scenes run deep in anime, and here from Kaneki going insane to Ichigo releasing his inner hollow, I present to you best rage moments of all time. First off, we have Reg versus Bondrewd. Made in Abyss continues its roll into the new decade. Considered one of the best anime to come out of the modern era, it seems that the show never took its foot off the gas, delivering us banger after banger of anime material. I've talked about how one of the villains, Bondrewd, had such an imposing first impression. He didn't have to be a physical abomination to incite horror and fear in his appearance. However, Dark Reg sure gives him a run for his money. They completely flipped the switch here, and anime Dark Reg looked every bit as menacing as the manga counterpart. Coming up is Luffy's elephant gun against Kaido. We've already seen Luffy at his most angry, but in terms of rage moments that happen during a tough battle, there's little in the way of coming close to this as far as Luffy's concerned. It really helps that the anime team really emphasized the power and the emotions he had boiling within him as he descends to strike down Kaido with Elephant Gun. The speed lines, the close-ups on his face, and the sheer power welling up in that moment, such is truly the magic of anime and its ability to make the fans feel so emotional. Asta's no stranger to being angry at his enemies, but this moment against Dante is something else. Late Black Clover is truly amazing. We got fights and conflicts on a scale like we've never seen before, and we got peak Asta showing off his destructive powers in scenes that gets fans off their feet like this. Dante taking on the Black Bulls gave us a glimpse of Asta at his most destructive, and it's a treat to see. Seeing his comrades get attacked was enough to put Asta in a rage mode unlike anything we've seen before, and hearing him scream his heart out here gave me some chills. People back then often memed about Asta shouting in early Black Clover, but when utilised the right way, Asta's rage-filled shouts gave us this moment to remember. Next up, we look at Tanjiro versus Darky. He's not the most wrathful character around, but you really know Darky pushed a button too many when we finally get to see this Tanjiro face. The next phase of the fight then proceeds with Tanjiro fighting in a much more brutal manner than before. It's enough to get him to match Darky and manhandle the demon en route to what looked like a massacre. Darky's attacks all look feeble in front of this Tanjiro. This is Tanjiro using his rage to temporarily break his limits, unlocking the road to a new burst of power that we haven't seen him utilize before. Surely one of the highlights of this long battle that defines the Entertainment District arc. But we're not stepping on the brakes now, not just yet, as we proceed with Yuji versus Mahito. The part where it's Yuji taking on Mahito gives us a new perspective on Yuji. It's the most rage-filled he's ever been in the series so far, and you can feel the tension at its highest throughout this moment. Despite Mahito taking everything in stride, you gotta admit, he got one hell of a trashing too. In the end, it's nice to see this fight drill it in that Sukunai is a villain through and through. He's not just any convenient anime power-up that our hero has access to. It does feel like an offshoot of Hollow Ichigo in a way at first, but when it comes to execution, I think that makes Jujutsu Kaisen cool with an identity of its own. We have Endeavor versus High End as the next moment. For a lot of people, this is a fight that showcased Endeavor at his peak powers. How powerful would he be going all out? But for me, it's also the fight that unleashes the pent-up anger that he always kept under wraps, as shocking as it sounds. Like, Endeavor's not the nicest guy or dad around, but he never had an outburst like this in the series, no? And it's that unshakable drive, that unstoppable desire that he derives his power from. The fight also serves as Endeavor burning away his past and moving forward, as he himself said. It also ends up giving us a finisher that sent chills through MHA fans' spines. And we have Chainsaw Man taking up the next spot on the list. It's not often you see anime depict fights in such a violent and unhinged manner, but Chainsaw Man did it. The violence really helped the scene make a statement when it comes to representing Denji's mental state in this moment. Here you have a killing machine laying waste to everything in sight, and the fans are loving every moment of it. Overall, this is a great scene that sets the tone of what Chainsaw Man can be moving forward. It's every bit of what fans wanted and expected, and I don't think the anime team will start pulling punches moving forward. It's the opposite, in fact. Prepare for more rage, blood, and brutality. But if you're up for something less over the top in terms of violence, something grittier, more rooted in reality, here's Mikey. Forget the oversized weapons, the crazy blood splattering, or the superpowers. If you want some good old hand-to-hand combat and intense, gritty shows of camaraderie, Tokyo Revengers might just be your jam. The Thorman gang find themselves in a pickle against the dominating Valhalla. It's an all-out gang war that had Mikey on the ropes, as shocking as it may be. As we'll find out, however, there's no force more powerful than your leader's pure, unrestrained rage. Despite taking some big hits that would have knocked someone out, all it took was a little shaking off of cobwebs and triggers to get Mikey into this mode, resulting in a kick that new gen anime fans will never forget. Not trying to discredit the Valhalla, not everyone can push Mikey to the brink of the mindset, but let's just say that he's not called Invincible Mikey for nothing. Everyone learned a lesson that day, one that gave enough credence to that nickname. Dao Ma is one of the three major characters in Blade of the Guardians, and with his skills in using swords, he's a formidable opponent through and through. Laying eyes on the severed head of his companion Lao Mo, Dao Ma could no longer hold himself back and was intoxicated with rage. Drawing his sword, Dao Ma was ready to bathe in the blood of his enemies. With no mercy at all, he portrayed his spirit as a warrior and as a loyal friend ready to defend those important to him without batting an eyelid. You'd expect decent to good animation when it comes to Chinese anime, but this one takes the cake. The choreography was clean, and I even felt like I was angry for a moment seeing just how well executed it really was. Next on the list we have Daily Life of the Immortal King. Wang Ling shows his true power. This was the moment that Zhang Lu Ying realized that the one thing you shouldn't do in a cultivation anime is to enrage the overpowered MC. We also got to see the true power of gender equality. The fight was one-sided, and he wouldn't even stop if it wasn't for a vision he had with Sun Rong. What made this rage moment so good was that it showed Wang Ling still had his humanity deep inside of him, including his ability to feel anger. He was so angry that even when literal space froze, it still couldn't stop him. The fight scene itself was worth the watch, with the beautiful effects of their attacks being the highlight, especially the punch Zhang Lu Ying got in the face. This goes to show that people should stop sleeping on Chinese anime and just give it a go. Moving up on the list is Demon Slayer. Tanjiro cuts off Gyutaro's head. This was a pure rage moment defined by strength and sheer will. Even though Tanjiro took a sickle to the mouth, he still charged in, which has got to hurt. The way Tanjiro's eyes turned white, the manifestation of his Demon Slayer mark, and his hair resembling a blazing flame was breathtaking to watch. Viewers got goosebumps as the slicing sound effects at the very end made it all so satisfying. This was the beginning of Tanjiro's growth as a sun breather and how he would become the foundation of the Demon Slayer's corpse survival. With another brutal showdown, we have Tokyo Ghoul, Ken Kaneki versus Jason. Prior to their fight, Kaneki endures weeks of horrendous torture from Jason to the point that Kaneki's hair turns white. After accepting his inner ghoul, Kaneki goes into rage mode, and he might have fought Jason broken and bent, but he proved that he was just as terrifying as the strongest ghouls there are. Fans love seeing Jason take a beating, and on top of it all, Kaneki made Jason count backward and even ate him at the end, which goes to show how twisted Kaneki suddenly became. From a shy human boy to a merciless half-ghoul, Kaneki was smiling throughout the entire beatdown. It was one of the best scenes in Tokyo Ghoul and by far a legendary moment in all of anime. Speaking of legendary moments, next up is Fairy Tail, where Natsu transforms into END. END is a strange and strong demon that is the Dark Wizard Zeref's ultimate creation. As Natsu discovers his true identity and relationship with END, he experiences a surge of betrayal, rage, and determination. Natsu's visual transition into END is breathtaking. His appearance changes dramatically, with scales, horns, and demonic features all enveloped in an eerie glow. This build-up creates a lot of excitement and sets the stage for a spectacular transition. With iconic show after iconic show, we have another one from One Piece when Luffy punched a celestial dragon. We all know who Straw Hat Luffy is, and we all know he delivered one of the most satisfying punches in all of anime. During the Sabaody arc, Luffy and his crew find themselves in an auction for slaves where they witness St. Charles shoot Hachin just because he was a fishman. Now, knowing Luffy, you just don't want to pull a stunt like that in front of him. As St. Charles celebrated his actions, the captain of the Straw Hats could no longer contain himself. The punch was thrown so hard that Luffy momentarily sent St. Charles back into the manga panel before crashing into the seats behind him. Next up is Tsukimichi. Makoto snaps against Shion. After seeing the memories of Shion through a missed gate, Makoto learns what had truly happened to his friends. The tragedy and death of his friends were no accident but planned. Realizing what had happened, Makoto tracks down Shion to enact his revenge. It's not every day you see an innocent character snap, but man, Makoto really created a vibe of his own. I thought the show was just a happy slice of life fantasy anime, but it proved me wrong with this scene alone. If you thought Tanjiro was nice, then Makoto was an angel. So that's why it's so surprising that when he's consumed with rage, even he could do what Asta couldn't. Next up we have Black Clover, Asta versus Ladros. Now this was the scene that made us appreciate just how strong of an individual Asta really is, and the first time we've seen him go all out with his anti-magic and demon powers. Ladros was confident and even attempted to absorb Asta's anti-magic sword. When all seemed lost, in one of the most epic moments of Black Clover, Asta entered his anti-magic demon form, and then we all knew where their entire budget was thrown to. The animation quality was totally different from the beginning parts of the series, and it even looked like Devilman Crybaby when Asta met Lieb for the first time. The way Asta transformed, the way he blitzed Ladros at the end, especially the impact frames when Asta emerged from the flames, was just epic. Although we did want Asta to end Ladros, which he didn't, it meant the ending of that moment still kept the Black Clover charm. This was one of the few rage moments we'll ever get to see in Black Clover, and it's safe to say, it didn't disappoint. With another demonic transformation in the list, we have Seraph of the End. Yu turns into a demon. After seeing all his friends, including Shinoa, suffer at the hands of his enemies, Yu couldn't hold back his emotions and started screaming his lungs out. Now this is what we expected to happen to Asta, where the MC just loses control and gives in to his primal anger and rage. Yu was reborn into a monster, and even if Mika was there, He just straight up destroyed everything in his path with one simple move. His rage caused him to transform in a horrific and immensely painful way, which made the scene even more amazing. This was a true rage moment where even if it didn't have $1 million budget animation, the impact was just as effective. The black ooze and his one giant wing were perfect in terms of character design. Not only that, this was a foreshadowing of what was about to come and the bigger horrors that awaited the characters. Moving on, we have Hajime no Ippo, Takamura vs. Hawk. Due to Hawk's brash personality, his pre-fight trash talk, and slapping Takamura's coach right in front of him, Takamura was dumbfounded and enraged. During their fight, as Takamura was losing consciousness, he snaps, remembering it was his opponent's fault that his coach bled during the press conference. This was the moment where even if he was about to go unconscious, sheer will and anger kept his body going. The animation was insane and everyone expected Takamura to have a comeback, but not as beastly as this one. This moment was an exciting and emotionally packed encounter that demonstrated the physical and mental demands of professional boxing, as well as the dedication of the people involved. Even when he was pushed back to a corner, Takamura became a monster and beat Hawk at the end. Coming up is probably one of the most iconic rage scenes in all of anime. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Roy Mustang takes on Envy. This moment is always on lists like this, and rightfully so. Overcome by a deep, seething rage, Roy was relentless with his attacks and brought down divine punishment on Envy. Each time Roy snapped his fingers, he burnt Envy repeatedly until he was nothing but ash and burnt flesh. Each attack was filled with his anger and thirst for revenge, which was why it was so satisfying to watch. Roy's wrath emotionally connects with the audience. Viewers have grown to love Roy as a character who represents loyalty, justice, and devotion to his teammates. Seeing him focus his rage on a ferocious battle against Envy was a once-in-a-lifetime moment for us to see his character grow. His usual calm and strategic approach is replaced by a madman willing to do anything to avenge his fallen friend. The animation, voice acting, and impact was undoubtedly top-notch. Blitzing it is Attack on Titan. Levi defeats the Beast Titan. After Erwin's godlike speech that made each one of us feel like we were a part of the Scouts, Levi, who went into demon mode after seeing every one of his comrades die at the hand of the Beast Titan, proceeds to give us one of the best one-sided fights in the series. He wasted no time, and as humanity's strongest soldier, he rushed the Beast Titan and brought it down in an instant. Levi even did one of the coldest poses when he brought Zeke out and proceeded to shove a sword inside his mouth. The moment was intense. The way which studio animated Levi's attacks was insane, especially when he sliced through the Beast Titan's arm. Levi definitely had a few rage scenes, but this one was by far the best in terms of emotional impact and the anticlimactic ending it had. He proved that even if you're taller than a house, when you've got a short, angry guy after you, there is no escape. The next entry might be unexpected for some individuals because we have Gintama, Gintoki vs Jirocho. We all know that Gintama is a wacky anime, but for some who only see this series as a joke, it can be equally dramatic, intense, and relatable if it needs to be. Gintoki and Jirocho's conflict stems from their own histories and objectives. Gintoki threw out his funny and laid-back personality and replaced it with pure bloodlust after he saw Otose lifeless. Jirocho was responsible for all of this, and he really regretted it. Even though Gintoki had a wooden sword, he was able to overpower Jirocho even when it was broken. The studio went all out making it clear to us just how powerful each of Gintoki's strikes were. It wasn't just anger, Gintoki was feeling guilt and sadness as well, which drove him to become insane. This moment proved that Gintama wasn't all just fun and games. It could be serious as well, giving us another rage moment to remember. If you asked your dad, he'd probably say this entry was one of the most memorable moments in Dragon Ball. Goku rages after the Frieza kills Krillin in front of him. This occurs during the Dragon Ball Z series climactic fight on the planet Namek. Bruised and battered from a long fight, Goku stood in shock as to what just happened. He just witnessed the death of his best friend Krillin at the hands of his enemy Frieza. Seeing his friend blow up in mid-air made something deep inside Goku snap. The animation might be old, but it's no doubt worthy of being top 6. After reaching his iconic form, Goku proceeds to fight Frieza, pushing himself to the limit. The way Goku just started screaming out of anger and grief became a staple of the series, especially when he's transforming into new forms, and the moment Krillin just exploded into oblivion was just shocking to see. With an entry from the so-called Big Three of anime, we have Bleach, where Ichigo unleashes his inner hollow. Ulquiorra, being one of the strongest Espada in Aizen's army, proves to be an opponent Ichigo couldn't beat using his own strength. As hope seems to have disappeared, Orihime makes a desperate cry for Ichigo, begging him to help her. And by doing so, Ichigo's lifeless body transforms into something sinister, a holification unlike any other. Ichigo looked so ruthless that it made Ulquiorra look like the hero. From Ichigo breaking the ground behind him without even caring for Orihime, the one he was going to save, to him stepping on Ulquiorra's head, it was a battle of epic proportions. This hollow form was the acclamation of Ichigo's pent-up anger, and it did its job, showing us what would happen if you got on his bad side. The moment was amazing due to its meticulous build-up, stunning visuals, emotional resonance, and the embodiment of Ichigo's character development and ideals. It's a pivotal moment that showcases his growth as a hero with an innate demon and leaves a lasting impact on fans of the series. Moving in at number 4, we have the moment when Naruto succumbed to his pure hatred against pain. With his teacher's death, the destruction of his village, and Hinata's unconscious body lying motionless in front of him, Naruto's sanity was driven to the edge. In this moment of weakness, the Nine Tails took over Naruto's body using his rage. Although the fight did have some weird and inconsistent animation, the way Naruto negated and overpowered every attack Pain threw at him was just badass to watch. The entire fight reshaped the landscape into a desolate and barren wasteland. The build up towards Naruto's transformation, the animation and writing, along with him finally succumbing to his emotions, was flawless. At first, we all thought Naruto was going to pack up Pain with Sage Mode, but it was even better seeing him go all out. Naruto was running at Pain like a madman, hitting him with rubble until only his head was the only thing out of the ground. Better yet, he even got a second transformation, looking scarier than before as bones started coming out from his body. We got to see how ferocious the Kyuubi really is, and it didn't disappoint. When talking about rage moments, this one always has to be on the list. Mob Psycho, Mob's 100% rage against Goyama. After witnessing his brother getting beaten up by Goyama, Mob immediately steps in to save Ritsu. During his first attempt, Goyama caught him off guard and he was able to overwhelm Mob using his telekinetic helix. Mob's rage reached a level he was so desperately avoiding. Mob's emotions had hit 100%. Goyama stood no chance at all and was being thrown left and right. Goyama was at a disadvantage to the point where Mob just grabbed his face and they just broke the sound barrier. The choreography of the animation was one of its biggest highlights, making it more satisfying to see Mob teach Goyama a lesson. The animation wasn't a downer either, because when it comes to rage moments, you could always count on Mob Psycho to do the job. The vibrant colors, the dynamic animation, and creative visual effects create an intense and captivating spectacle that draws viewers in. Mob's rage demonstrates that even the most reserved and gentle individuals have the potential for incredible strength when their emotions are pushed to the limit. We have another underrated rage moment, Hyakkimaru after Mio's death. What would you do if the only person who ever showed you kindness was killed right in front of you? Well, as Hyakkimaru stood there listening to Mio's faint voice as she sang in her final moments, something inside the young man snapped. As Hyakkimaru screamed in agony from the rage he felt, no one could have predicted what was about to happen next. Instead of crying his eyes out, Hyakkimaru instead went on a killing spree, stabbing and slicing his opponents as he was unstoppable. There weren't any special abilities, no power-ups, no holding back. Hyakkimaru was just going all out, making the ground turn red with his opponent's blood. This scene is brutal as the audience witnesses Hyakkimaru's rage and sorrow, which is both satisfying and heart-rending. It's a moment that encapsulates the complexities of human emotions, elevating it beyond a mere battle scene. The most watched and most legendary rage moment in all of anime, we have Hunter x Hunter, Gon vs Neferpitou. As we journey together with Gon Freaks, we think of him as a carefree, happy-go-lucky kid that only has two dreams: to find his missing father and to become a world-renowned hunter. So in the Chimera Antark, after Gon confronts Neferpitou, the one responsible for his friend Kite's death, we see Gon for the first time ever exploding with rage, sacrificing everything he has just to enact his revenge. Instead of the normal sudden power-up, Gon offered his entire future and his potential as a human to gain an insane amount of power. This is when you know Gon was willing to risk it all because he forced his body to grow to the age where he was able to defeat Neferpitou. There were no other emotions here, it was just pure rage. His punches were so heavy that they sent Neferpitou flying. The visual effects were out of this world and the emotions were just too real to take in. It was the moment that took everyone by surprise. You see, Doman's fight against Denjiku is absolutely wild, but when Souya sees his boy getting wrecked, it's a different level of personal. He finally loses it when he sees Hakkai being beaten by one of the Haitani brothers. See, Souya has this strange little quirk and he's known as angry for a reason. The minute the tears start flowing, Souya's inner beast awakens and he becomes the crying blue ogre. And when this dude cries, everyone cries, just in a much more painful way. The poor Haitani brothers got to experience this firsthand and they were definitely not expecting it. Souya's punches literally sounded like shotgun shots and it was the most satisfying sound ever. Why is this such a good rage moment? No one expected Souya to be the guy who turned the tide of battle. Everyone thinks he's just Nahoya's quiet brother hanging out in the background until he isn't. Let's move on to Adonis, who casually killed a bunch of humans in his rage mode after he witnessed the death of someone very close to him. You see, a man with nothing to lose is a dangerous force to mess with. Now, this dude was locked up just like All For One from My Hero Academia, and when he finally breaks free, he makes sure to give us all a show. This guy's emotional dam ultimately bursts, and what followed was nothing short of a massacre. One by one, Adonis murders all those evil humans in the most painful way. Bro lit everyone up just like they lit up his teacher. What's absolutely terrifying about Adonis's rage mode is that it was an absolute bloodbath. Flames, destruction, screams. It's a scene straight out of a nightmare. The whole thing makes the civilians watching go, oh no, this is literally the consequences of our actions. The people who'd been so arrogant, so sure they were on the right side, now have to face the fact that they poked the wrong bear. Moving on, we have Misaka Makoto from a certain scientific railgun who unleashes her fury on Baba, a hacker and generally an awful person. You see, Baba thinks he can get away with all the misdeeds he does. He not only messed with Mikoto's friends, but also manipulated other espers in Academy City, just like he owned the place. It's almost like he forgot who he was dealing with, but the moment he laid a finger on someone close to her, it was game over. This was seriously the moment we all lived for. Makoto literally pulled apart the entire type Mantis robot in seconds without even breaking a sweat. And she does it all with this cool, determined look on her face. It's the kind of moment where you just want to cheer because it's so satisfying. This just goes to show exactly why making enemies with Misaka is dangerous to your life. Also, huge respect for Baba's voice actor for making him so infuriating. His voice alone makes me want to punch Baba. Let's jump right into the adrenaline-pumping fight between Denji and Bat Devil. Now, Denji's motivation behind this fight is quite interesting. After Bat Devil ate power-up, Denji wasn't going to sit back. Why? Well, do you remember the promise power made to him? Yeah, that's exactly why. I mean, this guy might be the most relatable hero to you. Driven by rage, Denji first cuts off the Bat Devil's wing. What follows is nothing short of brutal, because the way Denji ended the Bat Devil's life was oh so painful. There were guts spilling everywhere. That's what you get when you mess with a guy who hasn't even copped the feeling. You're getting me, right? And can we just take a moment to appreciate how satisfying it is to see Denji unleash this kind of fury? On top of all of that, this is one of the most visually stunning fight scenes in the history of anime. It's the kind of fight that you want to keep watching and never end. Thank you, Mappa. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Ichigo's epic rage moment in Bleach 1000-Year Blood War arc. If you thought this guy couldn't get any more intense, then think again. Ichigo goes full-on berserker mode when his friends and the Soul Society are thrown into chaos by the Quincy forces led by the big bad Yuha. I mean, come on, this isn't just any old battle, it's an all-out war that puts everything Ichigo cares about on the line. He was pissed beyond belief once he saw how mangled up Byakuya was. I mean, he was so mad that he was evaporating the water around him. Bro gives the old man Yuha a tough time and even burns his arm. That's what he gets for hurting those close to our hero. This moment solidifies Ichigo as a powerful protector and a formidable force, making it an unforgettable highlight in the Bleach saga. There's something deeply satisfying about seeing a normally composed hero like Ichigo let loose in such an explosive way. He's always carried the weight of protecting others, but this time it's personal. After playing around with both Iris and Beatrix and watching their adorable swordplay, Shadow decided that their playtime was over. That's why Shadow left both the girls in awe after revealing to them that he's not scared of anyone and doesn't need to run away is nothing short of epic. Shadow starts preparing to unleash his signature I Am atomic attack, and you can practically see the panic set in for Iris and Beatrix. They were staring death in the face, and let's be honest, they knew it. But what does Shadow do? He doesn't even need to finish them off with that insane move. Instead, he pulls, "I'm out of here." He still left Iris on the ground crying out of anger because she couldn't defeat him. I mean, Iris should have challenged Shadow to a shouting match. That could have given her a decent chance for a victory, right? I absolutely love this rage moment because it's not just about strength. Shadow showed complete and total dominance without even breaking a sweat. Plus, it's always funny and satisfying to see a character be so overpowered that they can afford to just walk away while their opponents are left questioning what the hell actually just happened. Oh boy, Balm unleashes his true powers in the first season of Tower of God, which is the moment when he proves that he's not a force to be messed with. You see, during one of the trials for climbing the tower, Balm sees Rachel getting hurt in front of him, and being the simp he is, Balm can't control himself and jumps in to save her. But when he takes a hit on his head, something within him snaps and he unleashes Shinsu in ways we've never seen before. But before he could absolutely destroy the one who hurt Rachel, he was controlled by a mysterious entity. This rage moment is so good because it's a turning point for Balm. It's the first time we truly see just how dangerous he can be when pushed to the limit. It shows that underneath that sweet exterior is a force that can shake the very foundations of the tower. And for fans, it was a clear sign that Balm isn't just some ordinary climber, he's a game changer. Let's move on to Ragnar's rage moment against Ultimacia in Ragnar Crimson. So here's the deal. Ultimacia isn't just your run-of-the-mill villain. She's a world-destroying dragon lord with power levels that would make most enemies crumble in fear. She's been scheming, wrecking everything, and acting like she's untouchable. When Ragnar learns about her twisted schemes, he lets loose and gives Ultimacia a taste of her own medicine, and honestly, Ultimacia became Traumacia in no time. What makes this rage moment so iconic is how relentless Ragnar is. He doesn't give Ultimacia a second to breathe, let alone heal. He's throwing out attacks faster than she can comprehend, cutting through her spells and barriers like they're nothing. Ragnar really is the man who defies creation and makes his own laws when it comes to combat. I mean, I've never seen so much violence against a girl in any anime, but to be fair, Ultimacia deserved every moment of it. Let's talk about Yor going full-on assassin mode against Sickle and Chain Barnaby in Spy Family. Now, we all know how Yor isn't your average sweet housewife, something that she desperately tries to become. So what exactly does she do? She takes down bad guys. Her rage against Sickle and Chain Barnaby is the perfect example of that. When Yor senses bloodlust from that dude, she wastes no time and decides to confront him. I love how that dude's body felt fear even before Yor unleashed her rage on him. Yor looked exactly like an apex predator who'd found her prey. She literally restricted Sickle and Chain Barnaby in his own chain and quickly knocked him out cold. Sickle and Chain Barnaby's first mistake was having Anya there, and his second was taking his eyes off Yor for even just a second. You know, it's not every day we get to see a chick who knows how to be more than a damsel in distress, and we all dig it. Not to mention how slick the animation was during this scene. Moving on, we have Midoriya's epic rage moment against Tomura Shigaraki, the menace to everyone in the world of My Hero Academia. You see, our heroes had been trying to fight Shigaraki for a long time now. When Shigaraki hurts Bakugo right in front of Midoriya's eyes and calls it unnecessary bloodshed, Midoriya loses it. At this point, Midoriya's not even thinking about strategy or safety, he's just seeing red. The guy looks at Shigaraki with so much intensity that you'd swear he was about to straight up devour him on the spot. Without the fear of being reduced to nothing, Midoriya approached Shigaraki to absolutely annihilate him, but he was stopped by Nana Shimura, one of the wielders of One for All. But I gotta say, there haven't been a lot of moments when we see Midoriya this out of control and badass. It's nothing short of glorious. Imagine if Nana hadn't shown up. Deku might have turned Shigaraki into a crater, but let's be real, the collateral damage would have been off the charts. Alright, let's talk about the epicness of Naofumi's Wrath Shield that we got to see in Rising of the Shield Hero in Season 2. If you thought that Naofumi was going to sit back and watch as the village was being destroyed by a bunch of monsters, you clearly don't know our boy. So, what does he do? In order to destroy the barrage of monsters, Naofumi unleashes his Wrath Shield. It's basically Naofumi's way of saying, I'm done playing nice, now watch my wrath. The shield becomes a powerhouse of rage, absorbing all the bad vibes and negativity thrown at him and turning them into pure, unfiltered fury. But hey, this attack comes with a price and takes a toll on our poor boy. Still, he's not afraid to use it when push comes to shove. This moment is so good because it showcases Naofumi's character development. We've watched him go from a mistreated underdog to a fierce warrior who isn't afraid to fight back, and we couldn't be any prouder. Sung Jin-woo's rage against the upper rank hunters in solo leveling is a sight to behold, not only because of its intensity, but also because of the animation. After getting trapped in the boss area thanks to the scheming of his fellow hunters, Sung Jin-woo had no choice but to face the boss all on his own. But hey, this is solo leveling, so it's no surprise that he had to go in solo. Technically, he wasn't completely alone, but let's not get caught up in bad puns, okay? Honestly, we were all fed up with those hunters and their underhanded tactics, so when they strutted back in only to find Sung Jin-woo waiting for them, it felt out like sweet karma. While the hunters hesitated, Jin-woo was having his own internal battle. But well, the system had already decided for them, and so he didn't hold back. Watching him emotionlessly take down all those hunters was a sight to behold, especially with that bittersweet soundtrack playing in the background. I absolutely loved the payback those cocky hunters received, because watching Jin-woo kill them mercilessly is oh so satisfying. After all, it's always fun to watch Jin-woo flexing his powers.
だけど一つ残念なことを教えてやろう。
知らない。
Ah yes, Nanami beating up Haruta after being enraged was the moment we'd all been waiting for. It literally, yes, literally broke the internet. Now, Haruta's the kind of villain who will keep you entertained with his mind games and his mischief. When Nanami walks in, something just shifts. His luck finally runs out, well, at least by a little bit. Haruta tried to kick Nanami in his stomach, only to find out that he'd been trying to hit a wall. What comes next is nothing short of jaw-dropping as Nanami's silent rage destroys this poor femboy. It's always the calmest of the bunch that goes crazy when angry. That punch was so damn satisfying, it makes me want to watch it over and over again on a loop. And the way Nanami held Haruta by his ponytail makes me go, it should have been me, not him. Anyway, lesson learned. Never piss off a man who just wants to clock out and go home. Not to mention how the art was literally godly, that you could screenshot the scene just fine and it's an instant wallpaper. Remember when Nezuko transformed into her adult demon form during her fight with Daki? Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. When Daki tried hurting Tanjiro, Nezuko couldn't sit back and watch. She decided to jump right into the battlefield and kick Daki with so much power her head flew off. This fight was brutal on all levels since Daki didn't hold back as well. Honestly, during this fight, I couldn't help but think if Nezuko was using leg breathing. I mean, she'd been using a lot of leg strength against Daki, but hey, it might just be fan service. And as if that epic scenario wasn't enough, the art and animation are borderline godly. Who even didn't get goosebumps? In the end, Nezuko's rage and determination pushed her to new heights, proving that she's not just a cute demon girl, but a force to be reckoned with. Daki might have underestimated her, but Nezuko delivers a powerful lesson. Never mess with family. Legoshi versus Lion from Beastars? Now this one's going to be interesting. A mild-mannered wolf decides to go all out against Lion. Mind you, he's not just any ordinary character from Beastars. Lion is the head honcho of a criminal gang. Now this guy made a grave mistake of kidnapping Haru and actually trying to eat her. Legoshi flips the switch and turns on his beast mode, absolutely overpowers Lion, and leaves Haru traumatized, I suppose. I absolutely love this rage moment. The mix of human fighting moves like punches and knees to the chin, and then animal instincts like dodging, biting, landing on all fours, pouncing. It's all just so satisfying. It really drives home the point that Legoshi is a wolf through and through. He finally accepts his beast side right in front of Haru without holding back. Without those wild, animalistic touches, this scene wouldn't have hit as hard. Big props to the writers and animators for making it so intense and fun to watch. Let's talk about the absolutely jaw-dropping moment when Luffy, in a fury, used his epic Red Rock against Kaido. It's already a default how the calmest and the goofiest character amongst all is typically the worst when angry. You see, Luffy goes into Gear 3, inflates his fist like a balloon, and then channels some serious advanced Busoshoku Haki into it. Then, BAM! He delivers this massive flaming punch that's not just powerful, but absolutely epic. The so-called indestructible Yonko Kaido really took a bad hit here. Kaido was the rightful receiver of this punch because he'd been ticking Luffy off all this time. But let's take a moment to appreciate the animation and the emotional weight of this scene. It's pure One Piece magic. The visuals are stunning and you can feel the intensity of the moment pulsing through your screen. True fans know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a moment that'll have you shouting, "Go Luffy!" while your heart races. Levi's no Eren, that's for sure, and I don't even think that I'll be able to remain composed considering all the things he's been through in the whole of Attack on Titan. However, when he gets into the zone of raging fury, there's little anyone can do to stop Levi. Seriously though, this moment from the OVA is more emotional than anything. You can just feel the power in the scene, and it further exemplifies the things that Levi had to endure to mold him into the strongest soldier that we know and love. Losing friends is never easy, but hearing Levi scream and the pure emotion being channeled in this scene gave me the chills. What I like about Jujutsu Kaisen is that throughout its run, it got the chance to show us some key moments from the main characters. Everyone knows Gojo and his moment. Megumi's moment came in at episode 23 when he finally leaves his comfort zone in the battle against the curse, pushing himself past his limits with his all-new domain expansion, Chimera's Shadow Garden. And I'm not sure about you, but I feel like it's a surreal sight to see Megumi pull off such a dark and ominous looking ability while bleeding with that crazed face on. Everything from visuals to the voice acting came together to make this a scene to remember. It came late in the show's run, but Jujutsu Kaisen really gave us a finale to remember for its first season. So Shinra, the guy whose entire job is to not get angry, gets angry. Like, apocalyptically angry. Homiya basically speedruns every trauma trigger this man has. She burns Inka and Samara alive, parades Sister Iris's corpse like a trophy, and then has Captain Obi, the one person Shinra would die for, get slipped by his own doppelganger. Bro. 12 years of I'm gonna be a hero just evaporated in a single scene. The Black Flames didn't just consume Shinra, they consumed the whole damn planet. This man went from I'll save everyone to literally being the reason everyone dies. The writers really said, what if we made hope itself rage quit? And honestly, peak.